It's really nice to be here, and thank you so much for having me on. Um, yes, I've just got back from New York for New York Climate Week, which was amazing. I know we're going to have a little chat about that and talk a little bit more about sustainability and what that means in terms of communication. In terms of me, I think, like you've just said, I come from a corporate background originally. In fact, I've never worked in an agency, although I've worked alongside lots of great agencies in my life, never worked in an agency myself. But I had this sort of strange notion 6 years ago to kind of jack everything in for various reasons and kind of go off on my own. And I started freelancing for a bit. And I think, like many people that end up setting up their own business, you don't always necessarily intend on setting up a business per se. I sort of started as a freelancer and just got the bug for it, really enjoyed it, and started to pick up more work, and we just sort of grew out from there really quite organically. And again, never set out to necessarily be a sustainability focused agency at all, but we just found that time and time again, because of my background, because of who I'd worked for in the past, obviously cars and aviation always carry with it a lot of issues around sustainability and emissions and things. I just ended up always kind of being gravitating towards sustainability projects and work. And so a couple of years ago, we just thought, hey, do you know what? We're going to really niche in here and go all in on this space, because we know that's what we're good at. And that's kind of where we've got to today, really. The brands that we work with primarily have got amazing, solid ESG strategies that are not only standalone ESG strategies, but they're fully baked into their overarching business strategy. And that's always one thing that we would always start with any business is, have you got a sustainability approach that is fully embedded into your overarching business strategy? Does it link to your marketing? Does it link to your financing? You know, does it link directly to your engagement with your consumers? Because it needs to flow through the whole business. And of course, that ultimately comes down to the leadership and the CEO and the C-suite being fully on board with this. You know, sustainability is no longer an add-on and a nice to do when we've got a little bit of budget or try and tick a box. It has to be fully embedded across your business.
Is this something that all businesses should be doing? It doesn't matter whether you're an accountant or whether you've got a corner shop, because I know we have all sorts of different people listening to us, whether they're being large companies or whether they're just trying to think about a social media strategy for their DIY shop, like my DIY guy Cam up the road, who's done some brilliant social media work just recently. But do you think this is something that we should really start baking into everybody's businesses?
I mean, I really do. I mean, I suppose I would say that, wouldn't I, considering my background? But I do, and I actually think that is happening. So we're a certified B Corp, which is a benefit corporation. Your listeners may know a little bit about B Corp, but if you don't, it's quite a rigorous system where you measure all of your emissions, but you also commit to put people and planet in alignment with profit as well. So there are certain kind of legal changes that you make as part of your business. And we're part of a local network. I'm based in Northamptonshire, and actually there's a whole range of businesses from recruitment to reusable nappies to like you name it. They're utterly completely different types of products and offerings, who are all B Corp as well, that have all made these significant commitments around people, planet, and profit, and having a clear business purpose.
How do we make people care and see that that these initiatives are really actually very good and very interesting?
I think what we have seen is, what doesn't work well is exactly what you've described, is when a business tries to look at something in the sustainable space. So if you're a gaming business, but you go and plant trees, and where's the connection with your business and your business purpose with that sustainable activity? I think where we've seen it really successfully done is where a business has, or a brand which is known for a particular thing. So for example, there is a brand from an organization that we work with. It's a beer. It's based out in Romania. On the bottle, there is a bison. These bison are actually endangered species. So this beer brand worked with well-known charities and NGOs like WWF on preserving the habitat of this creature, of this bison, and launched a whole campaign around that. Now, that was actually incredibly successful. And I think, it was solely because it was that the activity around sustainability was directly linked to the business purpose and authenticity of that brand. So I think it's really important of really mapping your brand when you're looking at any kind of external sustainability activities that you want to do, that you want to talk about necessarily. But you're right, there is also this other issue where I think lots of consumers aren't directly interested and want to know the nitty-gritty. They just want to know that you as a business are doing the right thing, that you are, taking care of the planet, that you're not damaging it in response to the work that you do, and that you're taking care of your people and your supply chain. And actually, these things are almost kind of, and should be, standard practice. I think a lot of us think and hope that the brands that we purchase are going to do right by that. And I think on the flip side, of course, what happens when you don't get it right? Corporate communications is done a particular way. Marketing is done another particular way. You then might have your internal comms, which is done another slightly different way. But they're all done in a particular way which seeks to be positive, give the best picture you can. And I think actually with sustainability communications, it's different. I think, it's not necessarily, and in fact, it shouldn't be about putting it in the best light. I think it's about being super transparent. Right. We work with our clients to help them go on a bit of a journey to kind of talk about the bad and the good, because we all know that sustainability is complex, it's challenging, it's difficult, it's also costly sometimes, not always, but sometimes. And that's difficult for a business. And so we try to get them from the get-go to be open and transparent and primarily talk about the action that they are taking, rather than talk about lofty commitments or gimmicks or things that they can't properly quantify and justify.
Do you see that drive for change coming from younger people?
I do, yeah, definitely. I think it's really strong. And I think those younger consumers definitely have an incredible amount of power. I think sometimes they feel powerless, but actually they have a huge amount of power. And I think it's hard to see it when you're in it, but I think they are changing the world. I think they are moving and shifting things in a way that, from our generation, we've never seen that level of change. So I think that the younger generation, kind of 30 downwards, has got a lot to be proud of, and a lot to feel like they're doing something really positive. They've just got to keep going, and I think they will, because I think the more I see, go along to sustainability events and summits and things, I just see more and more of that youth coming through and actually getting more of a platform as well to be able to kind of share this, which is so important. And they are the next consumers. They are the consumers now, but they're going to have more and more consumer power as we go through the years. And so we've got to get on board, and we have to change. Businesses need to get educated. CEOs need to get educated in terms of, sustainability and the importance of where that needs to sit. And it goes back to, I think, that point around the way in which you communicate. General communications or corporate communications has always been, like I said earlier, a way in which to kind of show things in the best light possible. You're a business and you want to present yourself in the best way possible. We all do, right? But I think that's not how sustainability communications can be or should be. We are not doing sustainability communications to sell your product. Sustainability communications should be about partly explaining your purpose as a business, about why you exist and what you're here to contribute, beyond just making a profit. And I think more and more consumers are wanting to see that. Sometimes businesses are even unintentionally greenwashing because they're using old ways of thinking, like, can you just spin it for us, Jacki? And can we just say it in a slightly more positive way or bump up the figures a little bit more? And that's where you immediately trip into this space of greenwashing, which is deeply dangerous and hugely damaging for your business.
Just before we bring this episode to a close, I mean, is that something that you just went and did? You went and filled the questionnaire out, or did you meet someone who works for the organization, or how did that come about that you became part of this brilliant B Corp collective, which is fantastic? It's a fantastic group of organizations.
So I had a chat with somebody that was already B Corp. They were very kind enough to give, and he was a very busy business owner himself, very successful, very kind to give me 30 minutes of his time to just talk to me about it. And he just said, look, just try the questionnaire, see how you get on. It's a great place to start. And then you can just take it from there, because I think otherwise it can feel deeply daunting. And I think I came at it with a preconceived view of, oh, we're a small business. This isn't for us. Like this is kind of big business stuff. But actually, as I researched it, the amount of small and medium-sized businesses that are B Corp is actually quite significant. So I think that was the encouragement. And of course, because of the space we work in, because of the clients that we work with, we really felt we needed to walk alongside with them. It's very easy from the sidelines to say you need to do this or we advise on this, but actually until you've gone through a similar type of process that is really rigorous and is challenging, I think we've been able to better understand some of the challenges our clients are going through, because it's given us an extra level of empathy, because we've had to go through something quite similar for our own size as well. So I think on two fronts, we wanted to be able to walk the walk alongside with them as well. So I think it's kind of helped in all ways. But from an employee point of view, our team are just made up. It was so important to them. Most of my team are between the age of sort of 25 and 35, and they are really passionate about this space. And I guess it's one of the reasons why they work for us, but becoming this status and being part of that has been really, really important to them too.